It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 9 of The Walking Dead. In this video, we're going to be looking at Rick and his final episodes, and we're going to take a look at whether this is how Rick is going to die, and whether he's going to get this death from the comics as a remix for his final send-off. Now, this video contains a lot of comic spoilers, so if you don't follow the comics or if you're not interested in comic material, definitely stop this video because I definitely will be getting into some spoilers from the comics. So this is your final spoiler warning. So last night we actually had a discussion live stream video, which was a great one. We talked a lot about Rick's final episodes and whether he's gonna die or have an open-ended story. Now, we definitely don't know for sure at this point. There's a lot of speculations and rumors, but we don't know for sure. So this video is pretty much under the assumption that Rick is gonna die. So if Rick dies, is this possibly a way that they could have his final send-off? Are they going to give him this death from the comics? Now, before I actually dive into this, I will do a highlight video for the live stream that we had last night and package that into a standalone video. So if you're interested in that, but you don't want to watch the entire 1 hour live stream, I will be doing a highlight / standalone video for that. So you can check that out. Now jumping into this video. So I'm assuming that all of you now don't care about comic spoilers. So what we're talking about is whether Rick is going to get Andrea's comic death. So of course in the comics, we had a big story with Andrea. We had her big death scene where we had a herd coming. We had her trying to save Eugene and, she ended up getting bit in the neck in the process. Now, the big question is whether that's going to happen the same way in the show and whether they're going to remix that and give Andrea's death from the comics to Rick in the show. Now, if you think about it, it definitely does make sense because in the comics, Andrea and Rick are together and Andrea gets killed. Andrea, this very, very important and big character, gets this death. And then Rick, who's in a relationship with Andrea, is going to have to cope with this death, live with this death, and try to find a way to live on. So Andrea's death in the comics pushed Rick's story forward in a big, big way. And what we could end up seeing is a similar kind of thing, but a remixed version of it, where we have Rick getting that death and Michonne having to live on after that death. And Rick's death in the show could possibly push Michonne's story forward in a major way. Because of course, like the comics where we have Andrea and Rick being in a relationship, in the show it's Michonne and Rick. So they could kind of reverse that and remix it and give it to Rick. Now, if we think about it, there's definitely some hints at that. In the comics, Andrea was actually on a horse when she saved Eugene, when the big herd came, and she got bit in the process there. And if we take a look at some shots that we've seen in the trailer for Season 9, we can see there's a shot of Rick on a white horse, and he's just riding away, and there's a herd following him, and he has blood on his side. So could that possibly be a remixed version of Andrea's comic death? Definitely a possibility. And of course, it'll be a remix because it won't be a bite on the neck, it'll be a bite on the side, which has the same effect. They can't cut it off. So he might end up dying from that. But the big thing is whether that's a possibility, and I definitely think it is. So if Rick is actually going to die this season, I definitely think that this might be what they're doing, and they're gonna give Rick this remixed comic death. Now, in terms of whether this is disappointing or underwhelming, I think it could be. Because in the comics, Andrea, as big of a character as she wasn't anywhere as close to how big Rick is. So that death was justified for her, and it made sense for her because it moved Rick's story forward, and Rick was a much bigger character. And it all made sense, and it all worked out. But in the show, I think Rick deserves a much bigger and badass, more epic, insane send-off than this, if this is what they're going to give us. Now, they could definitely add on to it. They could make it insane and extremely epic, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's going to be from a bite. And I don't think that that's the right send-off for Rick. As big of a character as Rick is, he deserves a much bigger, better death than that. But I definitely do want to know everyone's opinions about this. First of all, do you think Rick is going to die? Or do you think he's going to have an open-ended story and will return later? And if you think he's going to die, how do you think he's going to die? Now, before I end this video, definitely do check out a poll that I have on my Twitter. The link to my Twitter will be in the description. And in that poll, I basically ask, do you think Rick is going to die or do you think he'll return? And we've had some responses on there, not so many yet, but definitely if you want to participate, go to that poll on Twitter and participate. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads. Like and follow the Facebook page of this channel to join our community, and check out the upload schedule to learn more about daily uploads.